Hey, everybody, welcome back to your Dawn of Autonomy podcast. I'm Dawn Zoldi, your host, CEO of P3 Tech Consulting, and publisher at Autonomy Global. This is Tech Leaders Month. We are rounding it out, getting towards the end, sponsored by True Weather Solutions. And today we have an incredible person and an incredible company. By the way, coming out of stealth mode, this is a big day. This is all about Ironaxe and the interesting counter drone solution they have built. So Peter Schmidt, CEO founder, is with us today. A good friend and colleague. Peter, great to have you on the show.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, Dawn. Thank you.
Absolutely. So for those that don't know Peter, actually I met him probably almost right when I created my company about six plus years ago through my buddies Ron and Ray at the Urban Low Altitude Transport Association, Ultra. Peter and I were on the board together on a couple bourbonars together. Peter, tell everybody about yourself if they don't know your background.
So I'm MIT educated, got an undergraduate degree in computer science, and then went back to grad school for management. Career as an entrepreneur. The first 60% of it was in high-tech, software, networking, embedded systems. But I'm a pilot. I'm an aerobatic pilot. I like to fly upside down and sideways for fun. So when I had the chance to switch career tracks back in 2010 to aviation aerospace, I jumped at it. And I've had an interesting career there. I ran a Part 135 jet operator, so offered charter travel in these cool little jets. I went and helped rich people buy and sell jets for a while and learned about business aviation and private aviation that way. I ran the second largest aviation mechanics school in the country. And all of that combined to bring me to where we sit today with the launch of Ironaxe.
Well, Ironaxe is a spinoff, basically, of the parent company Transcend Air. So let's maybe go back in time a little bit. Because when I first met you, Peter, it was all about Transcend.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, you were designing the Vi, kind of larger aircraft. I don't want to call it a V. Was it a VTOL? Is it a VTOL?
It is a VTOL.
Yeah. It is a VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing, but it wasn't electric. I remember that.
Correct.
You had a different model in mind. Tell us a little bit about that history. And then, the origin story of Ironaxe to today. Like, why did you spin this off?
Yeah, it's fascinating to me and hopefully interesting to the audience. So running that small jet company taught me something very important, and that is what matters in making money in commercial aviation is there has to be enough demand to fill the seats for the service you want to offer. And the reason we don't have inexpensive flights to regional airports is not because there aren't aircraft that can do it. There are plenty of nifty aircraft that can do that. We offered charter on them. It's because there aren't enough people living near those airports to fill the seats. Not enough people want to go from Albany, New York to Boston at the same time to make that a money-making proposition. And the technology doesn't matter. And I regret to inform folks in the advanced air mobility space who are targeting regional aviation and trying to do this, that they're going to learn the hard way what we learned, 15 years ago. So that said, where is the highest demand for air travel? It's in the middle of cities, big cities.
Yeah.
And so we launched Transcend to serve that with vertical takeoff and landing. That's how you get to the middle of a city. It's with VTOL. There are airports near the middle of cities, Logan Airport at Boston, LaGuardia. But still, getting from Midtown Manhattan to LaGuardia can take you an hour and a half. Getting from downtown Boston to Logan is 45 minutes to an hour when during peak travel time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the option, what vertical takeoff and landing gives us is it gives us the ability to put the source of the transportation near where the demand is. People will be able to walk to a vertiport, get on an aircraft, and get where they want to go. So high demand city to city. So that's regional air mobility. So we're talking Boston to New York in 30 minutes. And because I have a business degree and because I ran an airline, once you start filling the seats in each aircraft, then if you want to make more money, you either fly bigger aircraft or you fly those aircraft more often.
Right.
Big aircraft don't work from vertipads or helipads. You can't put a 737 down on a helipad.
Right.
So what we needed was more often, and more often means higher speed aircraft. It just came from the economics. So we focused on high speed vertical takeoff and landing from the beginning because my experience taught me that was going to be a profitable business.
Yeah.
And I built this insane 52 tab model of the whole airline out 10 years. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And it showed that we would make good money doing that.
Yeah.
So it's an accident of history that my co-founder Greg Brule and I arrived at that conclusion at the same time as Uber Elevate ignited a mania for battery electric urban air mobility aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that mania has been strategically useful to Transcend. It caused regulators to take powered lift seriously, and so now there's a certification category that works for our big aircraft.
Yeah.
But Transcend has basically been an R&D organization pursuing turbine-powered and now turbine hybrid electric-powered person-carrying aircraft. We got pulled into the military because we were designing aircraft that could go 3 times faster than helicopters.
Yeah.
Almost twice as fast as a V-22 Osprey tilt rotor.
Wow.
And so that got their attention. So we've won 7 military contracts since 2020. We're well positioned there. So Transcend is still soldiering on to try and realize the potential of our unique tilt wing vertical takeoff and landing platform for manned aviation, crewed aviation. But along the way, I was standing looking out at the Arabian Gulf. If you're standing in Dubai, that's what they call it.
Yeah.
Across the Gulf towards Iran, when my business development guy said, hey, it's going to be a long time before you have your full-scale aircraft certified. What are you guys flying now? I said, well, we have these cool subscale prototypes that we use for demonstrating that the aircraft can work. And he's like, could you bring down those Shahed TAC drones with them? And I was like, let me do some math.
The MIT background kicks in. Yeah.
Exactly. And so it turns out we can. And we came up with the design for this aircraft over my shoulder here. Oops, wrong way. This one.
Yeah.
That's the Slayer.
The Slayer.
That's the Slayer. And it has some really unique features that make it a very inexpensive way to hunt down and kill Shahed drones.
Wow.
But we were already flying the other aircraft next to me, which we've now named Morai, which is the Greek word for the fates, by the way.
Morai.
Moirai, Morai.
Moirai. Moira.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
And if you don't remember your Greek mythology, the fates were these super powerful beings that weaved the destiny of gods and men on their looms.
Ah.
It's really hard to find good names in aviation that sound cool and haven't been taken.
That is really cool. I mean, I haven't seen the Odyssey yet. My guess is there are Moirai in that movie.
Oh, yes.
All 3 hours of it. But so that's cool. So there you are standing at the Arabian Gulf looking out. Somebody says, hey, can you do this? You're like, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, I think I can. So at the end of the day, this kind of birthed the whole idea of Ironaxe.
It did. And we've spent 2 years maturing it in stealth mode to this point. Another key aspect of it comes from our partners at Auburn University. We've had a super fruitful partnership over multiple government contracts with Iman Chakraborty, who's one of the world's leading professors of flight control and aerodynamics. And he has a lab, VSDDL, at Auburn. And so they started pioneering 3D printing aircraft.
Okay.
So we inherited that from them and have been building on that capability. And again, given my business degree and a focus on manufacturing, 3D printing, if you can make a product that's 3D printed, it revolutionizes manufacturing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and including in the field possibly. But
exactly.
We're talking about like 2 drones basically that were right.
That's the go-to-market products, yes.
Go-to-market products. Okay, you've been building in stealth mode for 2 years. Today's the big party where you tell the globe about it. I think now might be a good time to maybe show that video. All right, I love it. A new era in counter UAS is taking off. So,
Yeah.
Peter, you know, tell me a little bit about, the gap basically you're trying to fill, right? Because look, you and I both know there's counter drone has become really the talk of the town. I mean,
Yes.
AI, of course, is the buzz, has been the buzz for a couple years now. It's almost in the background now. It's like if you don't have AI, like, where are you? Like,
Yep.
what are you doing? So now it seems like counter drone is kind of front and center in people's minds, given everything that's happening in the world, including in Iran right now.
Right.
So what gap were you trying to fill, like with these two different drones? Yeah, tell me about that.
So AI empowered drone systems are hugely capable and very inexpensive.
I'm gonna laugh. We were just talking about how I let my dog stay in here. That's Frank, everybody.
Yeah, it's a
So
feature. People can watch your dog instead
yeah,
of me. That'll
he's
be
awesome. Yeah.
yeah.
So go keep going. So
So
counter drone, why?
so drones are gotten cheap and capable and very, very dangerous.
Yeah, yeah.
They've made tanks obsolete.
Yeah.
They've made capital ships obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
They're the most destabilizing factor in global defense since nuclear weapons.
Wow, that is actually a great phrase, turn of a phrase. And I've heard that before. I'm going to steal that. Keep going.
Please do. Um, so, what are we going to do about them? The missiles that we have that can take them down are much more expensive than the drones,
Oh, it's ridiculous.
right? It ranges. I mean, the cheapest solution the U.S. has in its arsenal right now is an APKWS rocket fitted with a Raytheon infrared guidance head, meaning that it becomes a small heat-seeking missile.
Okay.
And that costs $30,000 each.
And that's cheap by, Department of War standard.
It's incredibly cheap.
Yeah.
It's cheaper than anything else they've got.
Exactly.
It works pretty well if it can get a lock on it. It's not a bad system. And by the way, I'm not here to claim that we have a one-size-fits-all solution.
Right.
But what we do have is a solution that is dual use, meaning it'll have commercial, police, and military uses. And it has a really effective value proposition in a particular niche. So getting back to why counter UAS now,
Yeah.
well, the battlefield is now global.
Right.
It's uncomfortable to think about, but where you and I are sitting is within target range of Iranian drones if they wanted to attack us.
Mm.
And before we wave that off, look at what the Russians are doing to Ukraine.
Oh, yeah.
They are attacking civilian targets indiscriminately. So it's a thing.
Yeah.
So I was highly motivated to help the Ukrainians if we could with our technology. So the Shahid drones, Shahid is a Persian word. I believe it means explorer, and it was just the name they gave all of their drones they were developing. But it's become the shorthand for that particular attack drone. The Russians rebranded it as Garan.
Yep.
And they're throwing them by the thousands at the cities of Ukraine.
They are.
So that's one issue, and that's what the Slayer aircraft is designed to go after. And
The
we
bigger
can
Slayer
the
that
bigger
I
one there.
So, so basically what I'm hearing you say is the gap you were looking to fill is that kind of asymmetric gap.
Yes.
In terms of why are you throwing $30,000 heat-seeking missiles at these things when you could use this?
Well, and these heat-seeking missiles have very low range, right?
Yeah.
They have limited deployment envelopes where you can use them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true of many, if not, well, essentially all of the counter-UAS systems today.
Yeah.
So the other problem with drones is we've got DJI drones weighing from, 250 grams, a quarter of a kilogram, less than a pound.
Yeah.
Up to, and we've got FPV drones that have revolutionized the warfare in Ukraine,
Right.
which weigh, maybe 5-10 pounds max.
Yeah.
And those are a threat here now. You could be at an outdoor concert and a drone starts flying over, and the police have no effective way to do something about that.
Now you would use a Slayer for that. That's where the Morai comes in.
That's where the Morai comes in.
Okay.
And the video that's really our go-to-market is with Morai. And so the video was showing Moirai's chops and being able to take off and land vertically and be maneuverable like a multicopter. But then it gets on its wing, and the wing gives it a long loiter and long range capability. And that can be exploited, especially in military contexts, to lend a whole new dimension to counter UAS. So we're looking from the military side with Morai, we're looking at base, facility, and port defense.
Mm-hmm.
And there's two ways you can use it. You can fly it out. There it is, flying at Edwards Air Force Base last December where we were testing.
Yeah.
So there's two ways you can use it. Since it's VTOL, you can fly it out where you might towards where you think a threat might be coming from, and it can sit on the ground using essentially zero power.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you launch it, it leaps up and goes into action. And in the case of Morai, its goal is not to crash into the attacker or the threat. It's to tangle it up, either with that loom that you saw flying behind it in the video, with that sort of V on the back of it, so we call it a V loom, or with those things we were dropping. They're like chaff, the reflective stuff that fighter jets drop. Yeah, there's an example. You can see the white swarm strips that we're dropping. Those swarm strips are biodegradable. In fact, you can eat them. But if they come in contact with a drone's propellers, they immediately wrap around it and the drone falls out of the sky.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
So this is like, hey, instead of like, electronic warfare or some kind of cyber solution
or frickin' lasers
or microwaves or whatever we're talking about, because the list goes on.
Yeah.
These are basically low cost, biodegradable things that basically tangle it up. I think that's a good term to use.
The jargon is entanglement effector.
Entanglement effector. Okay. Very cool. So let's go a little bit deeper into, let's just say, the specifications of the Morai in particular. You mentioned, it leaps up into the air.
Yes.
So it takes off vertically. How fast does this thing go? How far? Is it on a battery? Like, how long does that last? This is what the people want to know, Peter.
What the people want to know, yes. It is battery powered currently, but it can, the design can accommodate hybrid electric, and probably will do that, meaning a fuel-based power system still driving the electric motors.
Yep.
But it does great on batteries. So it has, with one battery, if it just gets up on the wing and is loitering, it can be up in the air for over a half an hour.
Okay.
And if we put two batteries in it, it can be up in the air for 2 hours or an hour. Twice as long. The max speed is a bit over 100 miles an hour. So it's around 100 knots.
Wow. Okay.
But it'll fly at any speed you want between 0 and that, including flying backwards and sideways, as drones do when they're hovering.
Okay.
Depending on battery, there's always a trade-off between batteries on board and payload. But we can put a payload on there of a couple kilograms, so 4 or 5 pounds, and that amounts to a lot of payload. Now, that was our V-loom effector there, which is made out of biodegradable silk string.
I see it.
And you can see it there draping a loom over a target multicopter, which immediately falls down onto the ground. So the goal for that is targeted interception, where it flies over the top of a target drone. And in the video, you saw that we can actually attach a parachute to the loom. So we tangle up the drone, it pulls the loom off the aircraft, extracts the parachute, and the whole thing floats down.
Wow.
And so what does that give you? Well, if you're a police officer, it means you can take this down safely in the middle of a street, right? It's just going to come down under parachute. It might bonk somebody, but it's not going to do any sort of significant harm. And you have full custody chain of the evidence, something I'm sure you appreciate.
To me that's key, right? You start messing, you start lasering things. You just basically blown up, or like you were talking about these heat-seeking missiles.
Yeah.
You've blown up, the forensic value of, well, where was this thing before? What else are they doing with it? Kind of like to understand some TTPs, right? Like that after the fact battlefield assessment.
What does TTP stand for?
Tactics, techniques, and procedures.
Right.
In other words, what's the enemy? Where has this thing been before now? And what has it been doing? And that gives you some insight into maybe how they're proceeding, right? Maybe what they might do next.
Exactly. And in the case of police use cases, it's actual evidence in criminal proceedings.
Well, yeah. And really, just from the FAA standpoint, if there's an administrative action, likewise, right? The evidentiary value would be really important there.
And
Okay.
because our aircraft's VTOL, if it conducts an intercept, a mitigation, as the jargon goes, it can land, keep its camera on the aircraft, even though there are no people around. So it can maintain the custody chain remotely. So that's another example of the use of autonomous systems that is kind of unique. Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about that autonomy, Peter, because so does a pilot have to remotely fly this thing,
No.
or are there like automated features or autonomous features to it?
So some of the cool technology that the Air Force paid us to develop with Auburn University. So again, credit to Dr. Chakraborty. My vision for autonomous aircraft control is autonomy has to be defined in the concept of a mission, right? We've had autonomous aircraft that could do out and backs, very simple missions, fly out, drop off some cargo, and come back for a long time. My chief engineer fielded full scale, 12,000 pound max gross takeoff weight autonomous helicopters in Afghanistan with the Marine Corps over 10 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
That didn't make the headlines necessarily.
Yeah, they had two of them. They estimate that they saved over 400 lives from IEDs by flying supplies out with these helicopters.
That's amazing.
So they were fully autonomous, but they couldn't have done anything complicated. Like you wouldn't have been able to fly them in a city. You wouldn't have been able to use them to go pick up a downed aviator who's trying to evade capture from hostile forces. They weren't that smart.
Like in the mountainous area or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And so when people say the word autonomy without any classification to it, it's hard to really know what it means, right?
Yeah.
The biggest meaning is it can do everything a human pilot can, and we are not there. Nobody has a stack that can do that yet. People are getting closer all the time, but nobody can do that. So you have to limit what autonomy means within the concept of a mission or concept of operations.
Yeah. So let's bring it to, let's just hypothetically say Ukraine. You've got a unit that wants to leverage this technology. Let's stick with the Morai for now.
Yeah.
For counter UAS on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Are they stick and rudder? Are they pushing a button and watching this thing fly and it comes back, or what, or all the above?
Well, they could be. You can fly it if you have a good communications and control link to it. You can fly it manually, and you can fly it as an FPV drone, just like they're flying their current FPV drones out there. The vision is to have a stack that allows you to be fully manual or fully autonomous for some value of autonomous for the mission, or to blend in between. Yeah. So the right way to use this would be the commander of whatever force is running this drone would set a rules of engagement and how they want to deploy the aircraft. And so an example with the Morai would be, let's forward deploy it towards the Russian forces, meaning let's have it take off, fly across the no man's land, and set itself down in some clear area. And then it's forward positioned where if something is coming in that's attacking, it can strike it very quickly. It doesn't have to fly all the way over there, right? It's ready for defense. It's loitering, but it's loitering on the ground, not using any energy, unlike loitering in the air where you're burning a lot of energy. Yeah. So that's a possible use case. So it's sitting out there, and it's waiting to be told to go.
Yeah. And now, how does it see and find? Like, in other words, we talked about this heat-seeking missile, right? It's got, I think you said, I forget what company made the.
It's RTX.
Made the sensor on the front.
Yeah.
Are you guys? What are you leveraging if you're able to talk about it?
We're leveraging AI, like you said. If you don't have AI, you're nowhere.
Yeah.
So we actually have 2 Ukrainian AI providers who have already delivered AI terminal guidance. That means directing the vehicle up to the target. They've already delivered it to the Ukrainian military. So we're going to be, for Ukraine, for certain, we will be integrating their intellectual property, their software onto our system to do that.
Okay.
It uses cameras. It sees the drone target and flies to it.
It uses the cameras, and then in terms of the effectors, give me the word again, the terminology.
Entanglement effectors.
In terms of the entanglement effectors, am I pushing a button as an operator to drop that thing, or how is that working exactly?
Again, you can do that, and in some in some areas, it will be mandatory that a human being be in that loop.
Yeah.
In the no man's land in Ukraine, no, it would just go and perform the intercept autonomously.
Okay.
You
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Wow. So let's take it to the World Cup. I mean, it just ended, right? Congratulations, Spain, by the way.
Yeah, go Spain.
So, stadium scenario.
Yes, stadium scenario.
Yeah, walk me through how this works there.
So what we would do is we would pre-position several Morai, a couple inside the stadium and a couple outside the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
We are not making what is called detect, track, and ID systems.
Okay. So, DIT.
DIT, yeah.
Yeah.
Or DTI.
In fact, I think it's detect, identify, and then track. Because I don't think you can track something unless you identify it first.
Oh, no, you can totally track something you don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, but why would you bother?
Exactly.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. DIT, DTI, whatever, tomato.
I'm sure you're right, Dawn. I will accept a correction. It's DIT. So
we'll get we get the point. And so you don't have the detect,
right.
identify, track portion of this.
We don't. So we want to accept what is called queuing, directions from such a system to guide us in the direction of the target that they've identified. So we would integrate with whatever system. So, the Jersey State Police at MetLife Stadium, they've already picked one. Fine, we will integrate. So we talk to that system.
Okay.
And there are several companies in that space. I've gotten to know a couple of them. And so we will integrate with, all the ones who care to partner with us, excuse me. Yeah. Anyway, so the Morai gets scrambled. That's the old intercept term. It gets scrambled by one of these systems.
Yeah, like the fighter jets. Yeah.
Like the fighter jets, yeah, or the interceptors back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
That's what got me into aviation, by the way. My dad took me at age 3 to an open house at the Milwaukee airport, and there was a 2-ship of Delta-winged interceptors launching at a really improbable deck angle. And they were like homesick angels heading up to heaven, and I fell in love, and I've been an aviation geek ever since.
That's so cool.
So interceptors, yeah. So our interceptor gets scrambled.
Yep.
It goes up and gets queued. So it's basically told it's over that away, kind of at this altitude, we think, and it flies towards it. And hopefully the camera with the AI will acquire the target, in which case the AI takes over and starts telling our aircraft how to fly. And we have a targeting model, so the aircraft knows how to fly near it. So if we're towing a loom, it wants to fly over the top of it, be 5 or 6 feet above it, fly over the top. If we've got the swarm strips, we can drop those right on top of it. We could fly over the top and drop them, or we could actually drop them from really high. There's a concept in special operations called halo jumps, high altitude, low opening, where the Navy SEALs jump out of a C-130 at some improbably high altitude and fall like a rock until they get down near to the ground, and only then do they open their parachute for stealth purposes. Yeah, well, we'll be able to do the same thing. The Russian drones are starting to try to evade interception that's coming from above. So we could put a Morai up 10,000 feet above them, and we could drop the swarm strips in a canister shaped like a glider, and then deploy it. Now, the trick and the intellectual property is in knowing when, where, how to drop it so that it opens up and actually entangles the drone. That is not simple. And we've spent a couple of years working on that problem.
Wow. Okay. Very, very cool. So,
can I talk about something else that's not simple?
Yeah, please.
Tilt wing. So you see behind me in the picture, the Moirai's wing is pointed straight up, and the Slayer's wing is pointed forward like a normal airplane.
Yeah.
Tilt wing is the most technically challenging aircraft architecture. That's why we don't fly around in tilt wings. We fly around on helicopters and airplanes.
Yeah.
It's more challenging even than tilt rotor, which is what the V-22 is. And we have spent much of the past almost 10 years with Transcend perfecting the ability to master that challenge and actually fly around with the wing at any wing angle. Nobody's ever been able to do that before because wings stall when they get above a certain angle. Okay. And so controlling a wing through the stall and being able to climb and descend and turn and maneuver is a big deal. Now, why that matters from a business perspective is that if you give me the same amount of parts, same motors, same wires, same batteries, I can build a multicopter, I can build an airplane, I can build a VTOL that is not one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need VTOL, we will have the longest range, the longest endurance, while still keeping the maneuverability of that quadcopter. So that means I can offer the lowest cost range and payload solution versus any other drone architecture. And so that's important, especially as you get to larger scales like these aircraft.
Yeah.
So knowing the technology, having the IP actually matters. And, for people who aren't aircraft designers, well, I don't care. Why is a drone shaped one? I don't really care. Its drone is a drone, right?
Right.
But if you think about it, all airliners look identical.
They do.
And the reason is that that's the optimum shape to do their mission and be an airliner.
Mm-hmm.
What we've figured out is because of our capability to control this using fancy software and aerodynamic knowledge that is hard won and still trade secret, we can now control this. And I just reviewed 170 different drones that are currently flying in Ukraine. Somebody put together and posted on LinkedIn a really great compilation of photographs. There are 4 different vehicle architectures, and none of them are a tilt wing.
Okay.
You've got airplanes with long, skinny wings. You've got airplanes with delta wings like a Shahed. You've got quadcopters like your standard, drone you fly with a camera at home.
Yeah.
And then you've got quadcopters that have been modified with a nose cone and extra batteries that are bullet drones as interceptors. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's it. That's all they're flying.
Oh, you mean the ones that look like, basically like almost like a grenade, like a bigger grenade.
Yes.
With some flares off the bottom. It just goes straight up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, like a Sidewinder kind of thing.
They're little electric missiles is what they are.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're just quadcopters with an aerodynamic fairing on the top to hide the batteries.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I saw a lot of those in Japan. It was almost frightening. I went to the Japan drone and AAM show, and I was surprised at the number of those that I saw. That and really ginormous drones. So it's almost like a quadcopter with a missile taped on top, or something.
Well, it is exactly.
And
they're great. They are great for point defense. They can go out, a mile or two, a couple of kilometers.
Yeah,
and, I like them. I think they will become a standard feature of counter UAS. We are not trying to replace those. For their mission, they are the right shape. They're better.
Yeah.
But we might, on a Slayer, put several of them, sling them on a Slayer and have a Slayer take them up high and drag them out someplace where they can be of use as a mothership.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Lots of different options here. So exciting times, Peter, coming out of stealth right now. We've got these 2 really cool drones. And if I recall from your video, it said, we're shipping at the end of this year.
Yep.
So like in terms of a call to action, what are you looking for right now? Customers, partners, all the above?
Well, customers and partners are really what we're focused on right now. We have prototype aircraft, and the way, as I said, I'm an entrepreneur through my whole career, and the way I take products to market is when we get something basically working, we want to put it in customer hands so that they can make sure we finish the engineering in a way that will be useful to them.
Yep.
I'm not the customer, and that last 10% that makes it a product that people love needs to come from the customer.
Yeah.
So we're in beta effectively with this system. So
you're already working with the Ukrainians, you said. So you'll maybe have some literally battlefield tested, technology.
Yes.
So who else? I heard you.
Police.
Public safety. Yep. Police.
Yep. Police.
Okay.
And our buddy Ron has been very helpful. He's a former New Jersey State trooper and an expert in UAS use by police, and so he's one of our advisors.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Ron Leach is who he's talking about, if you guys don't know.
Yeah, Ron Leach is great.
Yeah.
So we have a bunch of police that we want to start doing demos for starting, this fall. I expect to have a big roadshow and go around and do demos. And then we'll find out what are the missing pieces for them.
Yeah.
And by Q4, we should start having, the initial product ones in people's hands. It'll be V1.0. It won't have all the features that we can imagine doing with it, but it'll be cool.
Yeah. Excellent. So, exciting times. Maybe
Yeah.
road shows coming down the pike here in the fall. What else, Peter? What else are you working on? What do people need to know?
Well, the last piece of the story is about manufacturing and
Yeah.
3D printing. I
Okay.
was talking about how amazing it is.
Yeah.
So I did an analysis. So, well, let me back up for a second just to contextualize this.
Yep.
I studied manufacturing for my master's degree. And
Okay.
being a math guy, we looked at how do you organize a factory to effectively produce things. And with
Mm.
traditional manufacturing, the equipment in a factory tends to be very expensive and it only does one or a couple things, right? So you have a production line, you line them up, and then you have to figure out how many of each things you need at each stage so that the line runs continuous and everything.
Mhm.
It's hard and it's not very flexible. If you wanted to make a different product, you can't use the same production line. In
Yeah.
fact, when you certify an aircraft, what you're actually certifying is not just the aircraft, you're also certifying the production line that builds the aircraft.
Hmm.
Because the way the aircraft is safe is that it was built by a provably safe production process. So you
Yeah.
can't change that at all. So aerospace has this traditional manufacturing mindset, which is about expensive, inflexible, and therefore very long time cycles to update kinds of products.
Yeah.
Ukraine has shown us that soldiers at the front talking to small businesses in the rear can innovate every couple weeks. They've got a new version of the drone. It has
Yeah.
new payloads, it has new radios, it has new guidance. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. I'm gonna date myself here. Like they're MacGyvering on the fly.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
like duct tape, and all right, let's put the
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Don, the first name for Ironaxe, the working name was actually MacGyver. And in fact, the IAO in our domain name and in the logo stands for improvise, adapt, and overcome.
I love that. Okay,
Yes,
cool.
because
All right.
that's what we're enabling. It's not just these two aircraft.
Yeah.
Really, the key of our intellectual property is that we can design any variation of these aircraft. We can make them
Yeah.
bigger, smaller, faster, slower, more fuel efficient or energy efficient, very rapidly. We have a set of
Oh,
software tools we've developed, so we can do that in a couple days. I can give you a new design in a couple days.
well, besides the design, okay, so the new design, but like, let's talk scale, right? Because we're hearing all
Yeah.
this dominant stuff. We need to be cranking these things out in the thousands. How does that work with, you know, with the manufacturing you're talking
Yeah.
about? 3D printing.
I look forward to getting our first multi-thousand unit order.
Yeah. Hey, Pete, I got something for you.
Yep. And the basic answer is to commandeer existing 3D printer fleets. All right. If the
Okay.
U.S. military wants 10,000 of these,
Yeah.
we actually have the authority to commandeer. There are lots of, on the internet, you can go and 3D print parts. So there are
Yeah.
companies out there that already have fleets of 3D printers. And if there's a
Mhm.
national defense need, that would be a simple way for us to fill that. We'd actually commandeer them, just like, civilian ships got commandeered in World War II, and that's a thing.
Yeah.
The longer answer is the U.S. One of the ways the U.S. needs to enhance its industrial base is by having more indigenous 3D printing capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Indigenous is correct because actually, I forget where I was, Peter. Oh, you know what? I think it was at Exponential.
yeah,
I don't know what panel it was, but I remember afterwards people just started talking. Like the buzz was, hey, it's not just like the drones and the components. It's like now they're talking about the 3D printers and like
yeah,
where are those things coming from and what's it beaming back? To what
yeah,
mothership is that beaming back? So,
yeah,
it's this kind of the perennial supply chain issue.
yeah. It
Uh,
is. It is. And
yeah,
so the good news from our perspective is we can make these aircraft. We can design them and make them from standard components. The Morai fuselage. I keep leaning the wrong way, but the Morai fuselage is basically a tube.
yeah,
That could be PVC pipe.
yeah.
The only downside of a PVC pipe is it's inflexible.
Mm.
One of the nice things about this aircraft is the fuselage panels snap on like Legos to some carbon fiber longerons, the structure.
Oh,
So
cool.
I can just pop any of those panels off, and we have access to the interior and stuff.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But life is about trade-offs. If we got a huge order, we might go ahead and use more standard manufacturing techniques to fill that initially.
Yeah.
But the potential of 3D printing over time is to give an entire army a command, like, Central Command that's overseeing the Iran war,
Yeah.
an ability to dynamically produce and then iterate and innovate aircraft that are fielded.
Very
So
cool.
the vision someday is that a warfighter standing next to a Connex box full of 3D printers says, I need longer range on this Morai version we're using. And they pull out their handheld device and they slide their finger on the range slider and they see that other things happen, like they get less payload and they're like, yeah, that's cool. Okay, click. And a few hours later, they've got a new drone that they can fly the next day.
Yeah. Wow.
So we have a path to doing that. We have the fundamental technology to make that real. And so that's where we're going to raise money now, coming out of stealth mode, to actually raise the capital necessary to go implement that.
And that's probably a great segue because we're getting towards the end here, Peter. And we didn't really even get into great detail on the Slayer. I mean, that's I'd say a more elite product, for a very specific, kind of the Shaheed
Yep.
Iran, threat, which is very real, but maybe a more limited, possibly a more limited, kind of stakeholder audience for that one.
Yes.
But the Morai, I mean, we're talking critical infrastructure, right? Once, hopefully they'll get the authority soon that we just gave to state, local, tribal, territorial law enforcement with the Safer Skies Act. So more to follow there. But you're coming in, I think, Peter, at a perfect time. I mean, you put the work in. You're coming out at a period where drone dominance it's a thing. Counter UAS is now important. Some authorities are starting to flow. So,
Yes.
good for you. Good for you. So as we kind of round out the show, what did we cover that you wanted to cover? And of course, how can people reach out to partner, whether, they have the DTI or DIT tech that maybe you can integrate with, or, they want to start testing with your Morai system. Tell us a little bit more as we close the show out.
Well, the one shout out I want to give, and if we can get the photo back up of the warfighter at Edwards holding one of our Morai, I want to give a shout out to Colonel Dustin Thomas, call sign Wiz, who is a visionary in 3D printed military systems. And so he and I bonded over our shared idea of the potential a while ago. And that aircraft that he was holding in his arms, he built himself. He built Morai number 2.
Oh, wow.
With some help from the 416th Experimental Test Force. Shout out to Steve and Keith there, which is a operating unit of the 412 Test Wing at the legendary Edwards Air Force Base, where the speed of sound was first broken. I would like to point out.
Yes.
And so Wiz instigated, along with the 416th, an ongoing activity called Game of Drones. And we were honored to be one of 2 drone participants at the first Game of Drones last December. So this idea of expeditionary manufacturing, in other words, using our 3D printing to stretch where production can be across the logistics chain, we already have a proof of concept. It was built in his garage. So I'm excited about that.
Game of Drones.
Yeah.
And so you've already done it, basically. The Air Force knows you can do this. I mean, and you have, like you said, deep connections with some of your other aircraft, right? That the bigger ones that you've been working with.
We do. Yes, we do. Yeah. And so we expect to be seeing tilt wings fielded by the U.S. and allied military at small scales soon, and large scales still some years off, but we're getting there.
Awesome. So, all right. So how do people connect? How do they learn more? How do they find you?
As usual, the website, which is Ironaxe, all one word, Ironaxe, A-X-E. So IRONAXE -IAO.com. Went live this morning. So I've got our first website.
Another announcement, first. Okay, very cool.
They can contact us through the website. I'm active on LinkedIn, and so you can find me there too. And I would be delighted to talk to people who see a potential in partnering, or interested customers, of course.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much, Peter, for what you're bringing to the world. I mean, I think this is really important technology to help protect, our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, guardians, our law enforcement personnel, just civilians, possibly, roaming the streets or sitting in stadiums. Thank you for working with us for your big announcement. We're really honored that you would do that with us here today. And we'll be watching, and we really wish you all the best everybody reach out to Peter. We've got the QR code there. You can learn a little bit more. I'll go take you right to his website. And as he said, on LinkedIn. So that's it for now, everybody. That is all she wrote. We are out here.